where we dive deep into the truths that shape who you are and who you're becoming. What you're about to hear isn't a coincidence. It's not a random moment or a fleeting accident. Something profound, something older than logic, has guided you to this message. By the time this video ends, you might start to understand why. There are stories woven into the essence of who you are. Stories that didn't start with you, but seem destined to find peace through you. There are pains you didn't personally experience, yet they echo in your heart. These are the quiet whispers of inherited struggles, passed down through generations, carried in your breath, your choices, your very being. They aren't memories in the traditional sense, they're legacies. Patterns that repeat like sacred ceremonies, decisions made long before you had a voice. And then, one day, without fully understanding how or why, you feel it. A subtle ache, not of injury, but of purpose. A restless calling, a sacred unease, telling you that you weren't born just to exist, but to transform something profound. This journey, this awakening, is what some might call the path to wholeness. The process of becoming your truest self, beyond the roles you've been handed. It's about uncovering the hidden forces that have quietly shaped your life. As the great thinker Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Right now, you stand at a crossroads, holding the power to rewrite what feels like destiny. There are weights you weren't meant to carry forever, yet you feel them because your soul agreed to a sacred task. Not to reject your past, but to heal it. Not to break away from your roots, but to nurture them with clarity. You're not here to repeat the same story. You're here to close a chapter that no one before you could. This isn't because you're stronger than those who came before, but because you're more awake. The pain is still there, the confusion lingers, but now there's vision, a spark of purpose beneath the burden. You didn't come to endure what others endured. You came to free what they couldn't. This is the moment your life becomes a turning point. Today, we'll explore 6 signs that your soul is here not to repeat the past, but to bring it to a close. These signs are invitations to step into your purpose, to live consciously, and to transform not just your story, but the story of those who came before and those yet to come. Let's begin this journey together. Sign 1. A quiet unease with the familiar. The first sign you're here to close a cycle is a sacred discomfort with what others accept as normal. It's not anger or rebellion. It's a gentle, burning awareness, deep within. It starts as a whisper, a subtle tension when you're surrounded by familiar patterns. You sit at the family table, hear the same stories, watch the same dynamics unfold, but something inside you shifts. You feel the weight of unspoken pain in the room, the invisible agreements to endure, to please, to stay silent about what hurts. Your lips may stay closed, but your spirit begins to stir. You're not judging those around you, you're waking up. What others call love feels conditional. What they call strength feels like survival. What they call sacrifice feels like exhaustion passed down through time. This discomfort, inspired by Jung's idea of the collective unconscious, is your soul recognizing the hidden threads of inherited pain. It's not a fleeting feeling, it's a knowing. You start to see what others have normalized, the silences, the roles everyone plays without question, the guilt used as currency. You've tried to fit in, to follow the script, to soften your truth for the sake of peace. But every time you betray your own knowing to preserve the illusion, a piece of you fades. Your soul didn't come here to repeat. It came to rewrite. This unease isn't a flaw, it's the spark of transformation. You feel it when someone repeats a familiar phrase, when a loved one reenacts an unexamined pattern, when a tradition quietly breaks your heart. You can't pretend anymore. You've outgrown the language of silence. This makes you feel like an outsider, but it also makes you a bridge, the one who sees what others can't, who carries what others couldn't. You're not here to fix them. You're here to heal the story. You're pruning the family tree, not to cut it down, but to let light in. That's not betrayal. It's restoration. As Jung said, those who look inside awaken. You're awakening, not just for yourself, but for those who came before and those who will follow. You're the moment the cycle begins to shift. A call to join us if this resonates with you. Don't miss out on more content like this. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to join the Side Effects community, where we explore truth, growth, and transformation together. Your journey is just beginning, and we're here to walk it with you. Sign 2. Feeling echoes of unlived stories. The second sign is a profound connection to stories you never lived, yet they live within you. These aren't just emotions. They're echoes of something deeper. A grief that hits without warning, a sadness that arrives without context, a weight that feels like it belongs to someone else. Someone mentions a loss from long ago, and your heart tightens. Your eyes sting. You feel the pain as if it were yours, but it's not your memory. It's ancestral. Your soul recognizes it. Jung taught that our psyche stretches beyond a single lifetime, woven into the collective field of family and humanity. What you're feeling isn't imagination, it's resonance. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's openness. You're attuned to what others have buried, to the pain left in the shadows of your lineage. You're the one through whom unexpressed sorrow finds a voice. This is your inheritance, not just physical traits or traditions, but the silences, the unhealed wounds, the unspoken losses. You feel it in your bones, in the way certain places make your skin tingle, or an old song stirs something in your chest. It's a signal, a vibration, something unfinished that has chosen you, not to burden you, but to find resolution through you. Jung described the ancestral unconscious as a living force, seeking balance through awareness. You're the one awake enough to bear witness, strong enough to feel. It's not always easy, but every time you let that pain rise, through tears, words, or quiet reflection, you release more than your own burden. You cleanse the entire system. You bring breath to what was hidden. You're not doing this for recognition. You're doing it because you can't look away. Your refusal to pass on the pain is sacred. You're not overreacting. You're remembering. And remembrance is how the wound begins to heal. You're transforming the silence into a voice, the grief into a new kind of love. You're the doorway your ancestors were waiting for, and your tears soften the ground for something new to grow. Sign 3. A sense of being different. The third sign is one that often arrives early and lingers. A feeling of being different. Not better, not broken, just distinct. It's a quiet thread woven through your life, a sense that you see through what others accept. What they call normal feels hollow to you. Since childhood, you've had a gaze that sees beneath the surface, a heart that feels deeper, a mind that questions what others take for granted. You've never fully felt like you belonged. not because you lacked love, but because you carried something unexplainable. Jung wrote that becoming whole often means stepping away from collective patterns, that true growth is liberation, not isolation. Your difference isn't a flaw, it's a guide, a signal that you're here to do something new. You've tried to dim it, to conform, to wear the masks and play the roles. But inside, a quiet fire burned, urging you to remember. Each time you betrayed that truth to fit in, you felt a flicker of loss. Now you know, belonging at the cost of your soul isn't belonging. It's self-abandonment. You're done abandoning yourself. This feeling of not fitting in isn't proof you're lost. It's proof you're awake. Your presence holds up a mirror, stirring waters others have kept still. You're not trying to provoke, but by being yourself, you reveal what others have suppressed. You're no longer willing to shrink for their comfort. You walk with clarity, with depth, knowing your light can't be dimmed without cost. You shine not for attention, but for alignment. Jung taught that healing begins when you stop living the inherited script. You're doing that now, choosing truth over tradition, depth over performance. That shift ripples outward, even if no one notices, even if you're misunderstood. You're not here to fit in. You're here to free the story. One truth, one choice, one breath at a time. Sign 4. Your choices ripple beyond. You, the 4th sign, is a quiet awareness that your life isn't just your own. Your choices ripple, touching the roots of your past and the possibilities of the future. Healing isn't just self-care. It's a sacred act that rewrites the unspoken agreements of your lineage. Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, but he also believed that conscious transformation changes the field for all. At first, you thought your boundaries, your truths, were just for you. But the deeper you go, the more you feel it. An unraveling, as if every step forward loosens a knot in your family tree. When you choose authenticity over pleasing others, you're not just breaking a pattern, you're setting someone free. Your actions become sacred. Each decision aligned with your truth is an act of remembrance and release. You move with clarity, not ego, with restoration, not rebellion. You're not burning the roots, you're making space for new growth. You notice how old patterns dissolve. When you stop participating, how silence becomes sacred when it holds space for truth. Jung said, "One of the most powerful ways to heal the past is to live authentically in the present." That's what you're doing, living with intention, not perfection, with humility, not performance. You feel the thread of fate shifting in your hands. You sense when an old pain loosens, when peace follows your boundaries, when strength follows your stillness. Even if no one thanks you, your soul knows. You didn't come to repeat. You came to choose, to carry consciousness where there was reaction. You stand at the edge of a story that isn't yours and say, "This ends with me." Not with blame, but with knowing. Transformation doesn't always shout. It breathes, and in that quiet choice, a future is rewritten. Sign 5. A longing to let go. The 5th sign is a deep urge to cleanse, not just your space, but your soul. It's not about tidying a room, it's about freeing your life from what no longer holds truth. Jung taught that what we don't bring to consciousness shapes our reality. Now, you feel the weight of what's been unspoken, unexamined. You can't tolerate what once seemed harmless. Certain conversations feel heavy, relationships feel distant, not because they've changed, but because you have. Your energy is evolving, And so is your discernment. You no longer cling out of habit or stay out of fear. You question the loyalties you inherited, the obligations tied to guilt, the roles you were expected to play. You ask, is this mine? Does this belief, this bond, this burden align with who I'm becoming? Often, the answer is no. So, you let go. It might be subtle, choosing silence over explanation, saying no without apology, resting without guilt. It's a sacred ritual, declaring that your peace matters more than pleasing others. Jung said, individuation requires integrating what's been hidden. Cleansing isn't rejection. It's honoring what was and releasing what isn't yours to carry. It's not always easy. It can sting, leaving empty spaces that ache with quiet. But those spaces are sacred. They're where your true self emerges. You're not shedding to escape. You're shedding to remember who you are beneath the noise. The more you release, the clearer your inner voice becomes. Each item, thought, or tie you let go of is reverence for your soul, for those who came before, for those who will follow. This isn't self-help, it's soul work. It's a fierce love that clears, that chooses freedom over fear. You're not emptying your life, you're preparing it for what's real. That's how a cycle ends, with a quiet decision to live from truth. Sign 6, the courage to stay open. The 6th sign is the most courageous. Your heart remains open even after pain. Despite every reason to build walls, you've kept your soul's gates ajar. You've let the wind move through you, even when it hurt. Because you knew closing off would be survival, not healing. Jung taught that transformation begins when we refuse to be shaped unconsciously by pain. You've chosen to feel, not out of naivety, but out of wisdom. You've let yourself tremble, cry, remain soft where others hardened. To stay open after loss, to love again after disappointment, is a revolution of the soul. Your openness isn't weakness, it's mastery. You've chosen honesty over manipulation, leaving without hatred, grieving without vengeance. Each time, you did. You realigned the system. You showed that love doesn't have to hurt, that strength can be soft. You hold not just your story, but the unspoken sorrow, the tenderness that was never safe. You open your heart not to earn belonging, but because it's your truth. Your openness is a light, a transmission. I've survived without closing. I've walked through fire without becoming ash. This breaks the cycle, not through avoidance, but through presence. Jung said what isn't transformed is repeated. By staying open, you've ended a pattern of emotional exile. You live not from the wound, but from the wellspring of your becoming. That's the unseen revolution, and you carry it beautifully. Closing the cycle, Jung believed the soul's awakening comes not from rebellion, but from authenticity. Your soul whispers through discomfort, through the realization that something old must end for something new to begin. That's why you're here, not by chance, but by resonance. Your soul made a vow. This ends with me. This isn't rejection. It's liberation. It's not disowning your past, but honoring it with truth. You're tending the wound until it no longer bleeds into the next generation. Even if no one understands, even if you walk alone, something shifts because of you. You're no longer sleepwalking through inherited pain. You're feeling it, seeing it, choosing love over fear. That's how cycles close, with quiet courage. A call to share your story. If this message touched something deep within you, share your experience in the comments below. What's one moment in your life where you felt called to break a cycle or embrace your truth? Or if it resonates, simply type, "I know my worth," in the comments to affirm your journey. Your story matters, and we'd love to hear it. Join the Side Effects community. If this stirred something in you, don't stop here. The next video will dive even deeper into healing, growth, and self-discovery. It might be the breakthrough your soul's been waiting for. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the Side Effects community, where we're committed to truth, transformation, and real change. You're not alone on this path. I'll meet you in the next video, where we continue becoming who we were always meant to be.